Hello and welcome to the Cloud Council. I'm Don Poloniki, your host today. So today we're going to be discussing innovation in times of crisis, and I'm delighted to be joined by my guests, Herman Singh, founder and CEO of Future Advisory, and Ian Cohen, Chief Product and Information Officer at ICS Group. Let's consider best practice. So this is about knowing who to trust. So in this time of disruption, and as you both said, trying to potentially change the messaging to the market, understanding what your customers need in how the market is shifting, bringing your organizations along with you. How do you know who to trust internally and externally in terms of your partners and suppliers to help bring innovations that are needed in this crisis response? Maybe to Herman first.
Sure. So the success to any crisis is really remaining calm. Courage is when purpose overcomes fear. So what you really want to do is gather people around purpose, and you're really looking for courage here. You're looking for the leaders, the people who automatically step up. But at the same time, what you want is a very quick response, and you need to gather feedback and data very, very quickly, which talks to the fact that number one, you have to align your internal staff and teams and your external ecosystem, your vendors and your partners around your priorities. Because the problem that people have is unless you unpack the priorities, you get no focus. So people are busy. You've got busyness without business, right? So everyone's busy, but nobody's delivering against the business priorities. I actually went and watched Apollo 13 last night again, in preparation for this, because it was failure was not an option, guys. Here is the problem. We've got to get the CO2 out of the air, and here's what you have to deal with. Now focus on that problem. And I think great leaders are able to find the people with courage and competence, and they're able to align the priorities and get that focus, because keeping everyone's eye on the prize is the hardest part of this. Because everybody wants to deliver value, and you've suddenly got a whole bunch of grade threes playing soccer on the soccer field next to the one they're meant to be playing on, right? And so the challenge, the good leaders are the guys who create the bias for action, they create the pace, and importantly, they remove obstacles for execution. Because often, the standard operating procedures, this is how we place orders, I've got to go out and get 3 quotes. Some of these things need to be suspended. And what you've got to do is really reach out to the guys that you can trust, the guys that have never dropped you down in the past, and who have the scale to execute, and make sure that you bring them into your trusted circle to deliver on that purpose.
Got it. Very clear, Herman. Ian?
I couldn't agree more. Trust is a word we bandy around so often. We bandy it around about as often as we bandy around the word partners. In a time of crisis, you know who your partners are by not what they say, but what they actually do. And Herman is absolutely right. There are some things here about leadership. Probably the overarching, overriding characteristic of a leader is that they bring simplicity to complexity. They simplify a message to the extent that everyone can get behind that message. And with that simplicity and that clarity, people can get on with, that's the outcome. I know what I need to do. The Apollo 13 analogy is excellent. And also the other, I shouldn't be agreeing with you, Herman, but I'm going to. Busy versus business. There are lots of organizations at the moment who are having lots and lots of meetings on Teams or on Zoom or on Skype or whatever. And they are creating an illusion of being busy. But the question they need to ask is, are they advancing their business against the goals that they set and they reset on a regular basis throughout this crisis? So absolute commonality of purpose, absolute simplifying the goal and the objective, absolutely bringing your teams, your partners, your trusted advisors on you, along with you, around that simplicity of message, executing it, and being absolutely clear that when you've executed it, you're going to have to do it again, and it'll probably be different.
And Ian, totally agree. As one of those suppliers and partners, we find it's a really fine line. There's that line of being helpful, but that potentially being misconstrued as being unhelpful or opportunistic, and at the same time, trying to protect your commercial interests. So what we're trying to do is fall on the right side of aim on being helpful, and everything else will take care of itself. But what's your experience in terms of partners, vendors, suppliers getting it right and getting it wrong?
Well, you're absolutely right. Aim at being helpful. And it's a really hard thing to say to anyone, but park the commerciality for the moment. I still sit on the board of a couple of startups and scale-out businesses in the UK. I still advise them. What I am struck by almost, probably, I was going to say almost daily, but it is daily, is the degree to which those organizations are reaching out saying, we've built one of these, try it. We've got a chatbot for doing queue management and reducing the impact on information flows to your customers. Try it. Not from the perspective of try us because we want to win some business from you. It's try it because we genuinely think it'll make a difference. Mm-hmm. And those organizations will reap the benefit of it. They're not thinking about that at the moment necessarily, but they will.
So thank you very much to my guests. Really appreciated the conversation today. Fascinating insight. I'm sure our guests agree. Thanks very much for joining us on the Cloud Council. We'll see you next time.